Hello, hello. Today I want to be talking about how navigating relationship wounds and finding healing actually requires a huge commitment to self-awareness, of personal growth. And of course, everything I speak about, or a lot of things of what I speak about, is around the good girl and women who please and appease to stay safe, to feel seen in the world. But I also want to bring in the masculine a little bit today as well. So if we look at the feminine, a core need for the feminine, and sometimes also not met by the masculine, is that of being supported. And this is really a profound longing to be held, to be understood, to be nurtured in our relationships. I'm not going to go so much into that today, but many women also didn't have that by their fathers. And then that need in adulthood becomes even stronger to find that through the masculine. And the yearning for this support is really like an intrinsic aspect of the feminine essence. And the support really goes way beyond, physical assistance, or if we talk in the language of the love languages, it goes beyond acts of service. It really encompasses emotional, mental, spiritual nurturing as well. And then if we look to the masculine in relationships, conversely, the core masculine wound revolves around the lack of experiencing deep appreciation from the feminine. And these wounds, if left unaddressed, can really create significant rifts in relationships. And if you're here, if you're hearing some noise in the background here, it's two kitty cats that are playing together. Oh, gotta love it. Now, if I was to reflect on my own experience, when I don't feel supported or seen by Raphael, my husband, there's this sense of hurt or frustration that can arise in me. On the other hand, Raphael's primary love language revolves around words of affirmation. So really hearing words that makes him feel loved. I love you, I respect you, whatever that is. But when I get caught up, and I can very easily get caught up in my work. So my work in supporting others through either counseling or my facilitation work. I can neglect to acknowledge this, or, neglect to acknowledge him. Neglect this need of being acknowledged and appreciated for who he is and what he brings to our relationship. And I may unintentionally miss the mark on that. And when he doesn't receive the appreciation he craves, it can leave him feeling unvalued, and he can then easily disconnect from me. So the importance of understanding our needs in relationship. Well, of course, it all starts with the individual and our relationship with ourselves. But the beauty of intimate relationships is that we can also seek to get some of our needs met in our relationships, which is can be so healing. And then in relationships, the absence of this genuine support for each other's needs can really create significant challenge. And it can really, and I see this between myself and Raphael a lot. Well, not a lot, but it has happened a lot in 15 years together. But it can easily lead to feelings of disconnection, unfulfillment, emotional strain. And, unresolved wounds relating to personal needs can really trigger defensive patterns and communication breakdowns. It can really stop us from the growth and intimacy that's really possible in our relationships. And especially if you've embarked on a relationship where that's really something that's of utmost importance for you, something that Raphael and I have done. And in our case, even something today that happened earlier this morning. I'm recording this in late April of 2024, but it can get as far as when we have some sort of breakdown or miscommunication or where we find that our needs are not met, then it can often be as simple as meeting in an embrace and breathing in that embrace and really feeling each other that way. And sometimes words don't have to be spoken, but for many of us, it's important to really take care of having our needs met through ourselves, through the other people in our lives, so that we can really meet each other in our relationships. Now, of course, I speak a lot about good girls and the good girl archetype. And a very, very big struggle that good girls have is to ask for support. Because the good girl archetype places such a heavy emphasis on pleasing others and prioritizing others' needs over our own. And then in relationship, this dynamic can become particularly challenging. And relationship, I'm talking now, doesn't have to be in intimate relationships. But the good girl may find herself constantly giving and rarely receiving. And then the imbalance gradually can erode her sense of self, your sense of self-worth, and leaving you feel depleted, leaving you feel unseen. Meanwhile, either an intimate partner or other relationship partners, it can be parents, best friends, children, etc., can lead, the good girl can then inadvertently then reinforce this pattern by becoming accustomed to the good girl's selfless nature. And then the people that are closest to us can fail to recognize our need for support. So the feminine has a need for support, and then the good girl archetype, it has an even harder time to have that need met. So you can imagine then these dynamics highlight the importance of recognizing and addressing our individual needs within any relationship. And then it really becomes essential to cultivate an open and honest communication. And then it can allow you and the people that are closest to you to express your desires, your vulnerabilities, and of course, all importantly, your needs. And then through really bringing in compassion and through then practicing compassionate dialogue, you can bridge the gap that is present and then foster deeper understanding for each other's needs. So if I can then bring it back to intimate relationships, because there also communication is especially important. And so if we are to address this dynamic, let's say Raphael and I, we employ a very it's a simple yet powerful approach. And we both, first of all, we start and we take a moment to pause, maybe even closing our eyes and then taking a few deep breaths through the nose. And then you can exhale through the mouth or nose, whichever you prefer, but inhaling through the nose to regulate each of our nervous systems. And the nose is important because it stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, so it supports our relaxation. And then perhaps you can start by asking yourself internally, what would love do now? So if there's any kind of challenge, any kind of conflict, you can ask yourself, what would love do now? And this inquiry, I mean, you can use it in all sorts of situations, but when there are challenges, when you're finding that you're being triggered by the other because they have unmet needs that perhaps they're acting out, you're acting out, and when you then ask yourself, what would love do right now? It could really give some reassurance to know that how can I go wrong if I then act from that place? And this inquiry really guides us both to sit with the part of us that feels threatened or hurt, and then giving reassurance to the part inside that is feeling hurt or unsafe, and then making you feel more safe. And then from this grounded place, we can then better attune to the needs of the other, all the while honoring our own authenticity, speaking my truth as well as for him speaking his truth. And then it becomes possible to communicate without the charge or the defensiveness that comes along when our needs are not met. And yeah, maybe just take a moment to feel into that question. Maybe recently you've had a challenge, a communication breakdown. And then what would love do right now? And you really there, you have a choice of being right or being in love. And so when you navigate these wounds and when you want to find a way to find healing, it really, like I said earlier, it requires a commitment to self-awareness and really a commitment to personal growth. And that also means acknowledging your own past hurts and the patterns that come from that, while still extending empathy and compassion for yourself and for your partner. And by doing so, you can really create even bigger space for mutual support, growth, and then cultivating a rich and fulfilling relationship. And so I'm really curious what resonates for you here. I would love to hear from you in the comments below. What resonated, what didn't, what touched you, what didn't. And if this deeply resonates with you and you're ready to embark on a journey of healing, of transformation, starting with a relationship with yourself, and then of course allowing that to ripple effect into your other relationship, connect with me. Send me a direct message, comment beneath this video, and I would love to have a conversation with you. And so with that, from my heart to yours, I wish you so much expansion in your life, so much transformation, and much love. Bye for now.